Hello and welcome to Spain. We have traveled quite far to see this pretty unique car. As you can see, I'm wearing a sweater and jeans. That means it's not that warm anymore. This is already December in Spain.
I'll briefly tell you about the history of this car. We'll take a drive with it.
Although the owner of the car doesn't want me to drive it, so we'll have to deal with the footage of him driving. And yeah, I'll explain about a couple of interesting things about this car. So it is 1972 Simca Rally 2. So that is a French version, more powerful one. They used to make these in Spain as well, but they had less powerful engine and a couple of bits lacking from the French Rally 2 version.
About the car brand and model itself, the chances are that you haven't heard about it before. At least I hadn't, and I consider myself a car enthusiast. So Simca,
Société industrielle de mécanique et de carrosserie automobile,
was a French automaker founded in 1934 by Fiat. During its life, it became a subsidiary brand of Chrysler Europe and changed its brand name to Talbot later. Apart from production in France, Simca vehicles were also assembled in Brazil, Australia, Chile, Colombia, Netherlands and Spain by Spanish engine and later car manufacturer Barreiros Diesel. During its life, Simca had several successful models, amongst which 1100 was the best-selling car in France for some time, Simca 1307 and Simca Talbot Horizon won European Car of the Year title in 76 and 78, and the Simca 1000, which was the most produced model. 1.6 million cars were made, and on this model the Rally 2 is based. The 1000 at first was conceived to be the Fiat 600 model successor. As a result of Fiat and Simca management's close relationship, Simca acquired the right to use this design for their own car model. The 1000 model debuted in 1961 in France with a pussy 1-liter 36 horsepower engine. And I'm not being contemptuous about the engine size or power, it was named after the French commune
Poissy,
where the engine was developed. For Spain, the Barreiros Diesel started producing Simca 1000s in late 1965, and the engine displacement was reduced to 844 cubic centimeters as cars over 0.9 liters had a higher road tax. Spanish market did receive larger engines for the sportier modifications of the 1000, a 1.2 liter and the most powerful single carbureted 1.3 producing 63 horsepower. It was used in 1000 Rally model. In 72, a double carbureted version of this engine appeared in Simca Rally 2, producing 81 horsepower. It was not available for Spanish market though. Apart from Simca's own sporty versions with different names, there was also an Abarth version of the 1000, which also had disc brakes all around and could even have a 6-speed gearbox as an option. Visually, the car was quite boxy, receiving a couple of facelifts in 69 and 77 that changed the lights from round to square ones, different bumpers, hubcaps and some other minor details. So let's get back to our car, the modified Rally 2.
So first of all, it is a 4-door sedan, which initially started as a 4-seater. But this car has only front seats left. The rear seat is taken out to fit the roll cage, spare tire and a net for some extra equipment that might be needed on the track. Looking at the car from the side, one might think it's probably front-wheel drive, small engine, but no, it is rear-wheel drive, rear engine, and this particular one has 1.3 liter engine, which is the top of the range, the largest engine they used to make. These cars didn't have a lot of power, but this car does have a little bit more power. So the owner is just behind us, and he said that it's not too good to mention how much power does it actually make, because it would bump up the tax or something. So let's say it's approximately twice the original. So to achieve that, he has done a couple of interesting modifications. I'll visit the workshop later to see how exactly it's done. But what you can see with the naked eye is individual throttle bodies. 2 Weber carburetors here. This guy knows how to set up the carburetors to synchronize them. Ignition used to have a bag wrapped around it. That's to prevent the water dripping down these slots. What else? He has fitted the gas tank, which originally came in the engine bay, to the front, to the trunk, to improve the weight distribution. There is a oil catcher here, which is currently disconnected, so this tube is just dangling here. This part can be taken off for a lot easier access. It's not like this engine compartment is busy or anything. You can essentially climb in, step your foot on the ground and work on the engine, but if it's not enough, you can unscrew these 4 bolts, take the rear part off and make the engine completely accessible from all sides. So it is incredibly easy to work on, and it's also quite a simple design with no electronics. Let's check out the front of the car. So this car had one slight disadvantage comparing to the main rivals Renault 8, that the spare tire was fitted in the front of the trunk, taking up almost the third of the space. And now it is even less space here because the gas tank is fitted here for better weight distribution. But obviously this car is not really intended to be a daily driver. It's more for driving on the track, maybe on Saturdays like this, just to enjoy it. So you can fit a blanket, a couple of fluid bottles. What else? Let's check out the interior. We've got bucket seats. They look like they provide some support in sharp corners. And well, the interior is quite basic. It has sporty steering wheel. The instrument cluster looks pretty similar to the Soviet Zhiguli, which was actually Fiat. So maybe that's where they borrowed the style. So it has fuel gauge, oil pressure, tachometer, speedometer, which goes up to 200. Given that this car has medium gearbox, it should go approximately up to 180. They used to have even shorter gearboxes meant for the hill climb sort of circuit, or longer ones for more economy on highway. And a couple of more switches for hazard lights, the windscreen wipers, windscreen washer, and I don't know what that is.
Later, when I reviewed the footage for this video, I figured it must be the rear window defrost, a pretty neat extra for 1972. Another thing worth mentioning back here is the dismountable roll cage. The owner said it's street legal in Spain to drive with only the rear part of it, but when he arrives at the track, the front part can be installed to offer the full protection. I also had an opportunity to visit the owner's workshop where he built his Rally 2. It's a regular workshop that does basic maintenance, but the owner is kind of Simca car guru of the region and helps building similar projects to this one. So what makes this car have almost double the original power? Well, for starters, it's not the same engine. The original one is here covered under a rag. But it is the same kind of 1.3 that originally came in the car. It has received an old school, naturally aspirated, high revving, fire out of exhaust type of tuning. Apart from complete engine overhaul, the engine head now provides a lot more airflow at high revs. The camshaft is more aggressive, the valves have been enlarged to the absolute limit, almost touching each other, the intake and exhaust ports have been widened accordingly, and the rest of the intake has been made as free-flowing as possible with individual throttle bodies, mesh replacing air filter and double carburetors. On the exhaust side, most of restriction is removed too, free-flowing headers with only one muffler. Probably my limited Spanish prevents me from finding out other details and specific numbers, but you get the idea. The modifications should result in power output over 100 horsepower per liter, and with cars weight over just 875 kilos it should be quite nippy. The suspension is almost standard, only wider tires are fitted with glass fiber body kit that makes them fit in the wheel arches, and also it makes the car visually wider and sportier. And now it's time to see how it drives. I've fitted a microphone to the back of the car to pick up unadulterated exhaust sound. So I'll leave some footage of our test drive on mountain roads and also a highway where we'll do a 0 to 100 acceleration test. I soon discovered the owner still has it, really going for those bends, doing a couple of slides on dry tarmac, revving out the little angry engine. The car seems to have very little body roll in the corners, and also, like with most smaller cars, the speed feels different. Going only slightly faster than the rest of the traffic feels like the end of the world. Contributing to that greatly is the engine noise and vibration. I might as well not have bothered to attach the microphone at the back, as there isn't much sound insulation anyway and it's very loud in here. If we had to drive a longer distance, I'd consider wearing earplugs. Alright, let's see how quickly it accelerates. So 0 to 100 takes about 9 seconds, and it was quite a relaxed start. I think if pushed harder, this car could do mid-8s, and that's a pretty good improvement over the original 11.8 with no forced induction, just naturally aspirated old-school tuning.
So that was the episode. We checked out the acceleration of this crazy car. It did 8 seconds, which is not that crazy, but in that car with that guy by the wheel, that is a little bit crazy. That guy knows how to drive and how to get some adrenaline by the wheel. I think he went a bit crazy this time. Alright, see you in the next episodes, and Let me know in the comments, what would you like to see more? Is this the sort of content you enjoy? Maybe I need to go into technical details or show something of the country. And yeah, see you around.